Tonight, locals out of pocket after pool renovations.
Concerns for the future of Hervey Bay caravan parks.
Millions announced for Bundaberg community groups.
And we're one-on-one with the king of Mount Panorama.
This is 7 News with Joanne, Desmond and Nathan Spurling.
Good evening, thanks for joining us.
Good evening.
Well, frustrated homeowners who hired a local contractor to build their pool have been left high and dry after the company's licence was cancelled. They paid thousands of dollars up front to Sky Pools, but were left with little more than a hole in the ground.
Mike McClellan is $25,000 out of pocket with nothing to show for it. He withdrew funds from his superannuation to pay for a pool renovation by Sky Pools.
It's very poorly done, unskilled work.
He says the tiles aren't cut to size and they're out of alignment. The job was so questionable, Michael halted construction.
It's all got to be ripped up and repaired, so that's perhaps another $10,000 that we have to spend.
But he hasn't received a refund and is still dealing with the consequences.
Anxiety, depression, devastated.
He's not the only one. Mark and Kylie Peterson spent $50,000 on a pool build of their own, but say the company ghosted them after stopping work.
When they started putting the pavers on, they put them together. They didn't use spacers, so they decided they're going to use the grind to make the spacers and then put the silicon or the grout through the tiles.
The QBCC cancelled Sky Pool's licence, fining the company 12 demerit points and more than $6,000 for failing to comply with QBCC directions to rectify defective work. But there's been no reparation for the clients who haven't been able to claim their QBCC insurance because they didn't act quickly enough.
If you notice a defect, lodge with QBCC within 3 months, otherwise you're no longer eligible for home warranty insurance.
Sky Pools was contacted for comment. Jamie Tanikoff, 7 News.
Police are investigating after a 37-year-old male driver died in a two-vehicle crash near Mergen. The man's Toyota Hilux and a white Nissan Navara collided on Bix Road in Silverleaf just after 9 a.m. yesterday. The driver of the Nissan, a 48-year-old woman, was airlifted to the Sunshine Coast University Hospital in a stable condition. Anyone with dashcam vision or CCTV is urged to contact police.
Hervey Bay locals have posted on social media worried about the future of two beloved beachfront caravan parks. Council passed a motion last week to unlock potential open spaces, raising fears for the park's fate.
It's a view apparently money can buy, but the simple pleasure of caravan by the beach may soon be gone for good.
Hervey Bay was built on these caravan parks.
Fraser Coast Council has paused its $22 million redevelopment plans for the Pyalba and Torquay caravan parks to instead look at cheaper alternatives for the use of the land. Councillor Zane O'Keefe pushed for the refocus.
The motion gives clear intent to unlock parkland in Torquay for community use to help alleviate congestion pressures by providing more open space.
Small businesses along the Esplanade are worried about cash flow.
Definitely disappointing. We'll lose business.
Shutting it down would be disastrous economically.
The Mayor even sought clarity on the park's future.
The motion doesn't actually mention, say, close.
Decision to close Torquay Caravan Park is just saying, let's pause and look at what other options are available.
Plans for Pyalba are also on hold as alternative lower-cost options are considered. Master plans for both sites have been completed. The Pyalba redevelopment was planned to begin next year, and the Torquay one is still a few years away. Revised plans for both parks are set for public consultation early next year. Hannah Watt, 7 News.
MP Tom Smith and the Premier visited Bundaberg at the weekend to announce $4 million in funding for local community groups. The LNP has focused on housing, slamming the state government for vacant blocks of land across the Wide Bay.
More than 13,000 people have already cast their vote in Bundaberg.
Just those white gates there, madam.
And with the election this Saturday, the competition's heating up.
Yeah, Barry, I haven't asked. What's your view on the abortion? In terms of conscience vote, how would you vote?
The member for Bundaberg revealed his election sweeteners at the weekend, announcing $400,000 to help Angels Community Group help locals in need.
It's more than just school lunches. It's those in our community who are vulnerable.
I think it's amazing and thank you, and I know who I'll be voting for.
MP Tom Smith has also announced his super sports package, which would see $4 million invested in local sporting groups if Labor's elected. The LNP has focused on housing, as new data shows there are 44 vacant blocks of state government-owned land in Maryborough and 13 in Bundaberg.
We are in the midst of a housing crisis, and the Labor Party have promised the world and delivered nothing for the people without a roof over their head.
Jamie Tanikoff, 7 News.
Bundaberg Council has finished revamping the Botanic Gardens boardwalk, which has reopened to the public. The upgrade is a $625,000 investment to improve the boardwalk's longevity using sustainable materials.
The old boardwalk was made of timber and that had reached its end of life. So we're using a new composite material. It's a composite recycled plastic.
The Mayor says the composite plastic is more resilient against harsh weather and animal droppings, and maintenance won't be needed as often.
The country's tradie crisis is on a knife's edge as more young Australians find themselves unable to live on an apprentice's wage. New data has revealed the number of graduates from fee-free TAFE courses have dropped.
22-year-old Clay Stevens finished his concreting apprenticeship last year, but the rising cost of living made it incredibly tough.
Well, it's a long 4 years to get a good pay at the end of the day, so when you're on minimum wage, there's always better jobs out there.
For many young Australians, it's just not a wage they can afford to live on, and it's sending the tradie shortage into further chaos.
You definitely need heaps of people to build houses around here, but I don't know if there will be enough, really.
Despite the government's fee-free TAFE courses introduced last year, only 13% of those who enrolled have graduated.
The pay is extraordinarily positive once you are skilled, but in that lead up to a skilled traineeship, it is very difficult for young people these days, and something needs to be done to address that.
Australia needs an extra 90,000 skilled tradies in the next 3 months if the government's going to reach their housing targets. But industry leaders say that achieving that requires a targeted approach.
We need to balance the pool between attracting locals and building our locals and training and developing them, and also the stopgap short-term quick solution of bringing in skilled migrants who then need their own housing and their own infrastructure.
It's a stance echoed by the opposition.
The government's not prioritising the skills that we need in the economy, particularly to build houses. They can put these skills on a list and make it a priority to bring construction tradies to Australia.
Brooke Young, 7 News.
A Harvey Bay man is celebrating $1 million surprise from a weekday windfall ticket. Unable to sleep, he decided to check the ticket at 3:30 a.m. and woke his wife to share the news, although she was initially doubtful. With the win now confirmed, he's planning to buy a new ute, pay off the mortgage and hit the road for a caravan adventure.
Probably hasn't slept since that great news too. Well, newly crowned Bathurst 1000 winner Todd Hazelwood returned to Bundaberg at the weekend for some well-earned downtime between races. He was on the sideline as his partner raced at the Bundaberg Kart Club.
From Bathurst to Bundaberg, a week is a long time in motorsport. Todd Hazelwood is catching up with partner Alice Litzo in Bundaberg after his historic win at Mount Panorama.
Calling myself a Bathurst winner, it still doesn't feel real, to be honest. It's an absolute dream come true and couldn't be happier. But yeah, it's been a week from today now and still pinching myself of what I've just achieved. It's very special.
Watching teammate Brodie Kostecki race the final 30 laps was a nerve-wracking experience for Hazelwood.
The most nervous I've ever felt in my whole life. I had my fingers crossed. I think my fingers were nearly going purple towards the end of the race there. Pure elation when he crossed the line. But yeah, there were so many emotions. It was, a mixture of relief, happiness, joy, and knowing that we'd finally achieved something that we've worked so hard for so long.
Hazelwood has also reflected on what it means to have his name on the Peter Brock Trophy.
To etch my name, into the Peter Brock Trophy and becoming part of the history of the great race is incredibly special. The ultimate dream come true for me.
Alice didn't make the trip to Bathurst for the race, but clearly remembers what she said to Todd.
I just kept yelling, "King of the Mountain, you're King of the Mountain!" it was just incredible feeling, and I'm so proud of him.
Hazelwood said he's fallen in love with the Bundaberg region.
Besides having my amazing partner Alice by my side here in Bundaberg, there's no better place to be. It's
Brendan Bowers, 7 News.
King of the Mountain. Has a great ring to it, doesn't it,
Certainly
Jo?
does.
Well done, Todd.
All right, well, ahead tonight, the Queensland scientists close to finding a cure for paralysis.
And a milestone celebration for Hervey Bay's Botanic Gardens.
The Wide Bay turns to 7 News to keep up to date on local issues. And we want you to be part of it. If there's something happening in your street, your suburb, we want to know about it. Send us a message or drop us an email.
And thanks for joining us here on 7. Well, police have provided an update on their investigation into a baby dress found buried beneath a Childer's home with dark splotches on it. Bundaberg crime officers have conducted forensic testing, concluding the substance on the garment is not blood. Police have finalised their investigation and told 7 News they aren't aware of any missing child cases in the Childers region.
Well, Queensland scientists believe they're close to a cure for paralysis using nerve cells from a patient's nose. A world-first human trial will begin next year, offering hope to millions of people across the world.
Perry Cross broke his neck playing rugby 30 years ago. The incident left him a quadriplegic, unable to move from the neck down.
It's hard every day.
That's why he started the Perry Cross Spinal Cord Foundation to work towards finding a cure for paralysis. And now it's involved in a world-first human trial at Griffith University. Researchers will take nerve cells from a patient's nose to create a nerve bridge. This will be surgically transplanted into the injury site of the spinal cord.
Once implanted, the cells of the nerve bridge then integrate with the spinal cord and create an environment which promotes regeneration of the nerves.
But it's not an immediate fix. The cells will take time to regenerate and heal.
Patients will need to undergo physical rehabilitation with specialist providers.
Before and after the surgery, the team works with the Advanced Design and Prototype Institute to create 3D printed models of each patient's spine.
This will provide an exact replica on which surgeons can develop a personalised surgical approach for each patient.
Anyone with a spinal cord injury who is interested in taking part can register online.
Ultimately, the greatest hope is to give people their dignity back.
Rebecca Jensen, 7 News.
Well, plenty of people helped celebrate a special milestone for the Hervey Bay Botanic Gardens. They opened in 1974 and have been described as the region's most stunning outdoor spaces.
Nature was in full bloom yesterday as families helped mark a milestone birthday bash at the Hervey Bay Botanical Gardens.
It's 50 years today for the Hervey Bay Botanic Gardens, so the original site.
The gardens cover 26 hectares. The event, hosted by Council and the Hervey Bay Neighbourhood Centre, put the gardens on show from native bushland to the beloved Orchid House.
The community's really come out and support with the Hervey Bay Neighbourhood Centre and the Fraser Coast Regional Council putting on the birthday celebrations.
People were able to enjoy a range of free activities, including outdoor games, face painting, Mandela creations, bee workshops and a petting zoo.
I saw a big fluffy bunny.
There was even a world record attempt for the most painted rocks.
We've got the Hervey Bay Rocks here today, attempting a world record of 39,000 rock creations.
Hannah Watt, 7 News.
All right, time now for all the day's sport. And Nate, the Cavaliers roll on in the cricket.
They sure do, Joe. It's 3 straight wins now for the ladder leaders after they cruised to victory on Saturday. And speaking of cruising, Carters from all over hit the track in Bundy for round 7 of their race series.
Stream 7 News anywhere, anytime, live and on demand on 7plus. And with 7news.com.au, you'll know the news now.
And welcome back for all of tonight's sport. And the Cavaliers continue their swashbuckling start to the Fraser Coast cricket season with their 3rd straight win. The Hervey Bay team put the Brumbies to the sword, cruising to a 9-wicket victory.
After the first full round of fixtures, Cavaliers sit atop the Fraser Coast Senior Cricket Competition. The ladder leaders dismissing Brumbies for 69 before passing their total in just the 15th over.
The guys did really well. We were able to bowl Brumbies out for 69 and then, got the job done. In the end, I was a bit disappointed myself to get out, but at least we got there.
And Swan top scored for Cavaliers.
In the end, myself and Leighton were just trying to dig in and get the runs without losing a wicket. But my eyes got a bit too big for my belly and had a crack at one, and Jared got me snicking outside off. We've been doing well with the ball, and especially with the bat. Like the last 2 rounds prior to this week, we've made over 200. That's definitely the key for winning the matches in this 40-over comp.
Following the 9-wicket loss, Brumby Daniel Ovington pinpointed the area his team needs to work on.
Another one where we didn't bat our 40 overs. That's what we've got to do, bat our 40 overs.
Ovington not taking anything away from Cavaliers.
Bowled really good areas. They had that ball swinging that was really hooping. They just bowled really good areas and we weren't patient enough.
In the other match, Bushrangers defeated Grammars Tanana thanks to the Duckworth-Lewis system after rain called an early end to play. After run adjustments, Bushrangers were awarded their second win of the season. Brendan Bowers, 7 News.
The Hervey Bay Coral Coast men's softball team have claimed the Queensland State Opens Men Championship over the weekend. They locked in their spot in the final after crushing Ipswich 12-2, and they opened up a 5-1 lead against Wynnum at the top of the 5th innings in the decider before they held off a late fight back. The gap closed to just 1 before a 2-run 7th innings put our Wide Bay team back in front, holding on to take out the trophy. Karters from around the Wide Bay and Brisbane returned to the Bundy circuit yesterday for round 7 of the club's racing season. And now with just the 1 round left, drivers were out for maximum points in the battle for this year's championship.
In perfect conditions, over 35 karters took to the bitumen of the Bundaberg Kart Club circuit to race across 6 categories in round 7 of their club series.
So we'll race from generally February through to November. So generally 8 rounds per year.
Aquasanta believes there are stars of the future racing karts in Bundaberg.
Bundaberg Kart Club's got some great pedigree. We've got Troy Losco there, who's a 4 times Australian champion. We've got Kai Burke, who's currently over in Italy racing in an international round. Kai obviously couldn't be here today, but if you're looking for the next Oscar Piastri, I think he's a good chance.
Second-year racer Braxton Pittman has a dream to make it to Formula 1 and believes karting is the best way to get there.
I always had a dream to get into F1, so I thought, well, this is the grassroots of motorsport, so I was like, I'll give this a go for a year and see how I like it. And I've always just been into speed, I've always been racing on the simulator, so I thought I'd give karting a go, and now it's my main sport.
And Aquasanta hears that a lot.
And that's the absolute best part about karting is that, it is a family sport. You get involved and most people that start karting are there for life.
Brendan Bowers, 7 News.
I can see why, Joe. It's a lot of fun and that's it for our sport, absolutely.
Right. Thanks for that, Nate. After the break, Livio joins us and he'll have all the weather details for us.
G'day, Livio, Regano with tonight's weather. It's been a very quiet day across Queensland on the rainfall front. Virtually nothing at all falling out of the sky. A couple of little spots here and there on radar, but very dry generally. The main point of interest is the rising temperatures, which will occur later this week, affecting most of Queensland. Top temperatures today were mostly in the high 20s, which is more or less average for the time of year, and overnight minimum temps were near normal as well. The highest top was 32 degrees at Gayndah. Let's take a look at the satellite loop now. There are smudges of cloud here and there, but most of them unproductive. There was one storm over the Carnarvon Ranges, another little one around the Youngalla Range, and perhaps one or two tiny little echoes near Childers, and that's pretty much it for today. That's what you call isolated. So let's look at today's chart. We've got a low in the Tasman Sea, and that's squashed up against a high just over Tasmania. And those two systems together are making for quite a strong southerly wind as swell, just affecting southern areas like Golden Sunshine Coast. It quickly peters out as you go north. There's an inland trough as well. On tomorrow's chart, you can see that inland trough breaks off the coastal section. Isobars spread apart. Winds do start to drop generally, especially in the south. And once again, very isolated shower activity. Now the latest from BOM. Boating forecast for Hervey Bay waters, north to northeast winds 10 to 15 knots tomorrow, becoming north to northwesterly on Wednesday, Thursday, up to 20 knots at first, but then reaching 25 knots eventually. Gowrie offshore, southeast to northeast 10 to 15 knots tomorrow, over a 2.5 metre southerly swell. Again by Thursday, those north-northwesterlies could reach 25 knots. Tomorrow starts out with an early morning low tide, followed by a modest swing to the top of the tide later in the day. Full moon's well behind us now, so it's not that big a tide. For the Wide Bay Burnett, a few showers and a possible thunderstorm. For Bundaberg, it's 18 to 27 degrees, going to 32. Hervey Bay, 26 and Maryborough, 27. And looking ahead for Bundaberg, rising temperatures will peak in the 30s on Friday, ahead of a cooler change on Saturday. The chance of any rain is small enough to take a chance on the great outdoors. It's the middle of spring, folks, and in Queensland that means bushfire season, regardless of any recent rain we may have had. 3 basic ingredients are needed to get a bushfire going: high temperature for ignition, low humidity to keep the fuel dry, and strong wind to oxygenate and spread the flames. In Queensland, this combination is most likely from September through November, just before the start of the summer rains, when rapidly rising temperatures ignite the leaf litter left over from the dry season. Catch you later, folks. Have a nice evening, and now it's back to the team.
Great, thanks for that, Livio. And that's all from us for this Monday. Thanks for your company.
And if you'd like to see anything from our news again, there's replays over on 7plus, or you can download the 7 News app. So from everyone here at the team, enjoy the rest of your night. Good night.
Good night.